Alright? Now this one is the most intricate stage. If you don't get it right, oh, you will be in trouble. Criterion B and C. So what happens in Criterion B and C for collaborative project? Where do you start? If I was you, I would look at my group. Who are my group members? What are their strengths and weaknesses? What are their skills? What interests do they have depending on the skills that they want to nurture or grow or practice? So if someone is very good at design, give them a skill that is related to design. Someone is a great actor, let them act. Of course, everyone should act in this particular collaborative project, but always remember to give them an extra role. Now, once you've done that, it's time to create the story. So where do you start? Your starting point is very important. Remember, your starting point is the one that drives the story. The conflict. How did you start and how did you choose your stimulus? Is your stimulus from a piece of news, biography, or an epidemic? Or is it a book? Or is it just an inspired story that you heard from somewhere? So, of course, your concept and idea comes from a stimulus. So your starting point is very important. It is the one that drives the entire play. And as you continue to build on this play, one thing that you have to remember is that there is a plot structure. As you create your story and as you create this performance, can you make sure that you align it with the plot structure? Remember, it is not a must you follow a linear plot. For example, in my story, I can start with a climax for a certain reason, or maybe I start with the resolution. Maybe that is going to give me another technique, and maybe that is flash forward, or even flash forward, or even flashback. All right. So place your story within the plot structure. All right, and then continue building on your story. Remember, powerful characters tell a powerful story. Take time to build and to develop your characters. Conflict is the backbone of your story. Without a conflict, definitely your story is not interesting. It is conflict that starts and goes all the way to the climax. So make sure that your conflict is interesting, has depth. Remember, you don't have to use one type of conflict. You can use different types of conflict in your story. So you've developed your characters, you've developed your story. Then what happens next? Of course, you do casting according to the number of people in your group, according to the capability of your group members. So you're going to do casting, then start your rehearsal. But how can you start your rehearsal without a rehearsal schedule? So have a rehearsal schedule and continue the rehearsal. As you rehearse, make sure that you're taking pictures of all your rehearsals. Make sure that you're doing process journal entries, because it is these entries that feed the report in Criterion B. So Criterion B and C, it's how you develop this story. Each and every single rehearsal has to be fed in the report. What are you doing in your rehearsals? Where do you start? I'll start with a read-through. Then I'll do casting. We would memorize lines. Then start blocking the scenes according to their demands. And there, you'll have a story at the end of the day. But remember, you have to include lighting, sound, costumes, and the use of stage space. And when you're doing all this, you're doing it as well as in your process journal. You're journaling it each and every single time you're doing a rehearsal. At the end of the day, if you do everything that we just talked about, you're going to have a wonderful stage performance. And your criterion B and C would be checked.